Welcome to Bubbles and Breakdowns, a space designed for you to show up as your beautifully imperfect self, where we dive into the good, the bad, and the bubbly. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Katrina.
And today we're going to be talking about listening to our bodies after 40. But catch this, I'm still 39.
I love that for you.
So I feel like I'm going to pretend to be an expert, but let's be honest, I'm young.
You are, and so much younger than me.
So much younger. And I'm going to remind you every day of your lives. But no, today I think this is a topic when we were planning this outline, there's so much to talk about. I think a lot of our topics there are, right? It's our lives. It's what we're dealing with. It's how we make sense of it. And, you know, we realized the rules of health really seem to change once we hit 40. Mm-hmm. And our energy, vitality that we once took for granted feels a little different now. I don't know about you, but this episode is to guide us with this understanding of those shifts and how do we navigate them with confidence. We're going to pull back that curtain on the latest buzzword. I think we've all heard this a time or two, perimenopause. So we're going to talk about what is it, what symptoms to look out for, and why no one ever seems to talk about it until recently on the gram. We'll share practical, actionable strategies for managing nutrition, hormones, and just our overall well-being as we step into our second act. This isn't about dreading the future. It really is about empowering ourselves with knowledge to live our most vibrant, vital life yet. Because I think, too, now, I don't know about for you, but like having kids, that's what I want to be. I want to be full of energy. I want to be, exuberant. I want to make sure I'm setting the best example and feeling my best self in the second act.
Yeah, well said. And I will say that I feel like in our 30s, I felt a whole heck of a lot different than I do now in my 41st year, soon to be my 42nd year on this planet. And I think about our children and what they require of us. It's an extensive amount of energy.
Extensive.
And when I went through a huge shift, we'll talk about here in a little bit, I felt like I was unplugged.
Yes.
So if I think about my 30s, Ashley, and reflect on that decade.
Mm-hmm. And I think this is a really good place to start. Let's talk about the difference between 30s and 40s.
Yes.
And that shift. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me about your 30s.
Yeah. I mean, I felt energized. I was running a ton of half marathons. I was at a good, healthy weight. I felt like I was in control. My mood, I think, was relatively good up until I started to really have challenges with a fertility journey, which will take the steam out of, take the energy or steam out of anyone. But yeah, I just remember feeling good. I don't remember waking up sore. I don't remember having headaches. I don't remember just like feeling unplugged, which is a lot of what I've experienced as I've headed into my 40s.
That's like every morning for me too.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's the thing, it can happen at any time. We're using 40s as kind of like this snap in the line, I think somewhat because it's a little easy to do, but otherwise it's like, it is when some of these changes do start to materialize, especially for a woman as we kind of end our fertile years. And so then I look at how does it feel in my 40s? And you're approaching your 40s, so you're already probably feeling some of these things. Gosh, I remember for months last year in my 40th year of life, all of a sudden my body was talking to me. And my mother-in-law said it that way. She was like, in our 40s, our body starts talking to us. And I was like, well, tell it to shut up.
Is there a mute button?
Yeah, can we mute this whole situation? And I was like, she couldn't be more accurate. Keep in mind, she's a nurse practitioner, so she's had a lot of experience with bodies and health and people and women and throughout her years of taking care of others. But yeah, it started screaming at me, and it was waking up with extreme fatigue. It was waking up with all joints feeling sore, feeling constantly bloated, constantly inflamed. I remember turning to my husband and saying, I don't know how long I can handle this. I was feeling the worst version of myself. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe I just need to exercise more. So I was like, I'm going to go run a half marathon, because what did Katrina do in her 30s? You run half marathons. It's no big deal. which I know is a big deal for many people. Like a lot of people on this listening might say, I only run if someone's chasing me, or like, why would you do that to yourself? But it is so fun for me to be able to achieve things like that. And I was doing my training program and I ran 7 miles. And then the next day I was running my 4. And it felt like someone poured cement into my leg. And then all of a sudden I developed a really bad case of shin splints, which I had never had. I thought it was a fracture. I was like, someone needs to x-ray this leg.
Give me a cast ASAP.
Yeah. And then I was like, plantar fasciitis, and it lasted for almost 12 months. So point being, I was in a very different physical state. And it was obviously starkly different. And I was like, well, maybe it's because I'm running around after these 2 kids. Maybe it's because I'm not eating as healthy as I should. Maybe I need to cut back on the wine. But guess what? It wasn't any of that.
It's the 40s, baby. Well, and I love the way your mother-in-law said, like, our bodies are talking to us, because I've totally started to notice that too, where it's, you know, hey, Ash, let's go on a walk. Your body needs to move.
Yeah.
Or, hey, Ash, let's have some rest.
Yeah.
Like, it really is like looking introspectively, right? And it's not just like how my body's feeling. I think it's how my mind is too.
Oh, all of it.
And, you know, I think I've mentioned this before. Again, still 39, still touting that, but coming into 40, I really know who I am now. And I think my 30s, I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know how I'm going to react. I try to prep my husband, like, hey, this is what I need to hear from you right now. Mm-hmm. I don't need a solution. I need to vent, and you just need to sit there and smile.
Or
and
agree. Can you agree with me and be like, they're the worst, or that's terrible.
Like, that's all I need is just like a quick little vent. To your point, though, my emotions are different too. And like navigating these together and comparing it to 30s and 40s is kind of wild.
It is.
Because I've seen such a huge change, but also I want to help myself more now than I did in my 30s, where it was like, oh, I'm going to go work out, to your point too. Like, I'm going to push my body because that's what I've always done.
Yeah.
Now let's listen to who's talking. Yes. Let's listen to that body that's talking to you.
Yeah. And some days, like, I will have it in my mind when I go to bed the night before, I'm going to go for a 2-mile run in the morning. And then I'll wake up and I'll go, oh, I don't feel good. I think I just need to go for a walk. Or I don't want to do anything right now. And I give myself that permission. And then I don't feel bad about it, because I am trying to listen to my body, because I don't think anything, I have not gotten anything good about pushing my body outside of its comfort zone, in especially these recent years. It's like you feel worse.
You do. And it's not, and I can't be laid up for days. Like,
Exactly.
The days of like binging a Netflix, you know, series or whatever, like I used to live off of those, but we got too much responsibilities.
But, no, really, just to dovetail quickly over to that whole binge, you know, whatever. I was on a jog this morning and I thought to myself, you're chronically productive. I think this afternoon before you get the kids, you're going to watch 30 minutes of Real Housewives. Oh. And so now I've put that as a goal for myself of like, sit at like a lump on a couch and just give yourself that moment.
It is seriously the best.
You have to have it.
I know. But, bring up plantar fasciitis. I had something similar. We recently moved, and I don't know if it was me packing up a house, wearing no shoes.
Yeah, not good.
Standing on wood floors for weeks. But all of a sudden, same thing. I was like, I feel like the side of my foot is bruised.
Yeah.
And then my toes started going numb. And I'm like, okay, I'm on this group text now searching for podiatrists in the area. And I'm like, oh, this is 40. A foot doctor?
I bet the ads on your phone right now are fantastic.
They are flying at me fast. But you know, it is like great, like listens to our body. And I think that's the other thing too. Things in my 30s where like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I would just play it out. Now I feel like I'm so much more proactive in searching for a solution faster.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it go the other way. We know it can go down fast, or like we want to get right. Like, we've got half of our lives left to go. Let's figure it out so we're not kind of in this silent suffering.
That is such a beautiful point, because I think what you were saying earlier about knowing yourself, you also know what you're not going to put up with anymore.
Totally.
And some of that is external, right? Like, I'm not going to put up with people not giving me back what I give them, or treating me the way that I treat them, or, filling my cup. I'm not going to deal with that anymore. But it's also about for yourself. Like, no, guess what? Those months that I was struggling, waking up, feeling terrible, I dealt with it for far too long. And now, after we'll talk about here in a little bit, what I've done to kind of address what was ultimately perimenopause, I would not wait, because you're not being a hypochondriac. You are not making up how you feel. You're not eating too much sugar or doing something, unless you really, really are. But like, it's very unlikely that those are the reasons. And in fact, what I found is that maybe I was trying to negotiate with myself of being like, oh, there's no way. There's no way I could have perimenopause. Like, I just turned 40.
Right.
But guess what? Absolutely. Mid-30s to mid-40s. This is when it starts to hit.
Well, and that's interesting. I was just thinking about this when you brought that up about rationalizing how you feel. I feel like we're kind of ingrained to do that, especially as women. Like, oh, it's in your head, or you're being emotional, or is it that time of the month?
Oh, and
are you
what?
extra sensy?
Take it the next level. The whole healthcare industry is dismissive to women in general, especially in America. And so we have been, all those things that you just said, that is categorically why there is a lack of representation from females in many aspects of healthcare, clinical studies, data, research. Perimenopause has not been fully researched. Like, we're still on the precipice of learning so much about women.
Totally. And I think this is a great transition. Let's talk about perimenopause, because
Good old Peri.
I just keep him like, oh yeah, Peri. I drop lines like left and right, and I'm like, I don't know half of what it goes into, right? I've heard a bunch of influencers talk about it. I think I'm having symptoms. I think, to be honest, I've just started really on this like vitamin journey.
Good.
But when I say vitamin journey, it just means just taking a multivitamin for 40
step
plus.
one.
And went to my doctor actually for my yearly physical. And she said, let's up your vitamin D. And so I started taking more of that. And
With K2. You can't have vitamin D alone. You have to have it with K2.
See, didn't even know. Now I'm going to go buy K2 after this.
It'll probably be in the one that your doctor gave
then
you.
probably see. I don't even know that. But, going through that, one of the biggest things that I started noticing where I think it could be related to perimenopause is hair loss.
Yeah.
So I have an almost 2-year-old, and right, I feel like most people, I've always had like thinner hair my whole life, but in pregnancy, it's true that push at the end, your hair is like thick and luscious, and like, I could do no wrong. Do you have an extensions in? No, it's natural, right? It's like amazing. Then most people, I would say, 6 months into having this beautiful newborn, you're losing all of your hair, or at least I did. So I did for my daughter, and then it stopped. My son, I started losing it a little bit later, maybe when he was like a year, but it hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
And, I think there's certain things that I've been doing to different shampoos, or right, like all the, what can I do? Tea tree oil treatments, whatever.
This is part of your coping.
It is, right? I'm trying to search for an answer. But when I went to my doctor, she's like, most hair loss things, it could be perimenopause, but it's nutrient deficiencies.
Can be both.
Right? So she's like, let's start with that. And see where we go. So I've started taking more vitamins. I've kind of started to notice a difference, but I don't think it's been long enough to really tell. But perimenopause, I think that's my next pivot, is to say, what is going on with my hormones? Because I also feel different. And, I've always been a more sensitive person. My friends call me Sensy, because like in every sense of the word, I'm sensitive, and
which makes you the amazing person you are.
I mean, what can I say? But it is like, I've always kind of listened to my body, and just like, if I feel a certain way, kind of go with that flow. But now it's like, what is this body telling me? And I need more clues or evidence, right? About that. So tell me more about, like, you said you were diagnosed to be in perimenopause. Like, let's talk about what that is, and tell me. I need to know more.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I have 3 diagnoses in my life. Well, let's call it 4. I had chronic migraines as a kid.
Oh.
I had unexplained infertility. Spoiler alert, had both my children naturally. sleep apnea, mild sleep apnea, and perimenopause. And out of all of those, the most empowering has been perimenopause. The most motivating was unexplained infertility. But let's talk about perimenopause. So I'll give a definition. This is coming from an article, which we'll also link in the show notes for people who want to read through the whole thing. But perimenopause is also known as a menopause transition. I was reading and saying menopause is actually just one day. It's the final day that you've made it 12 whole months without a period. Then you're in full menopause. So menopause doesn't last years. Perimenopause lasts years. Oh. So that's a shift in thinking. So perimenopause encompasses the years of hormonal fluctuations leading up to the day that you've gone 12 months without your period. And yes, it is just one day for menopause. It typically begins for women ages 40 to 44, but can start in your 30s and last an average to 4 to 8 years. That's what it is. So if I look at myself, okay, I'm 41, I'll be 42 next year. And I started my period when I was 11 years old. I had my first baby at 35. I had my second baby at 37. And now I'm in perimenopause. In order to find out my diagnosis, Ashley, I knew that I couldn't just go to my primary. So I had them run like a hormonal panel because I had been experiencing things. And I thought, oh, maybe there'll be something glaringly obvious, but they couldn't interpret the results. So I ended up going to a women's health specialist, which was not close by. I had to make a drive. But most things in healthcare, unfortunately, the best people are a drive away. They're not down the road. So I said, I'm going to do it. I got my lab polls. We were analyzing them. I was also extremely vitamin D deficient, so it's funny that you mentioned that. And I have been on a 10,000 IU a day, which is extensive, and you shouldn't even take that amount unless you've had
It's basically
labs.
you're living on the sun.
Yeah,
you need that much.
Yeah, I'm standing on the sun, absorbing every ray. And then I was my testosterone was 1 point away from full menopause.
Wow.
So it was 11, and I guess at 10, you're in full menopause. And then my estrogen was low, but she said at the time of the cycle my lab poll was that means at the time where my estrogen typically dips, she said, quote unquote, I'm going below sea level. And I was like, what are we going to do about this?
Bring me to the surface.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, number one, the beauty of this, why I say it's like the most motivating, is that all of a sudden, all of that maybe dismissiveness of like, oh, you should be in a better mood, or you shouldn't be so sore, or like, get over it, quit being so whiny. Everything made sense. I was like, well, yeah, I'm a mess. I'm an absolute mess. I'm vitamin D deficient. I'm trying to chase after 2 very young children, and my estrogen is plummeting. And my body's signaling to me like, help, we got a problem. And now I was like, what can I do to help? Right? So briefly, what that meant is I ended up getting on a vitamin D, like I mentioned, with K2, and then an estrogen transdermal patch. So it's the second to lowest dose. I change it twice a week, and it has really helped even me out. In fact, like Matt and I joke that it's my happy patch. And like if I start getting irritable again, he's like, have you changed the patch? And I'm like,
patch change.
I'm like, don't even say that. What do you, yes, I'm supposed to change it today, you know?
You're like, oh man, they're right.
No, but it really, really has helped. So I don't know if you want to cover off, Ashley, like I gave the definition, but maybe you, since you are experiencing some of these things, could talk about the symptoms and help our listeners look at themselves and examine, like, what should I be looking for? Maybe you could walk us through that.
Absolutely. So I know the big one I mentioned, I think hair loss, right? Hormone fluctuations all the time. That could be a huge outlier there. Again, with nutrient deficiencies, hard to tell. Weight gain, brain fog, insomnia, irregular periods, achy joints, irritability. I mean,
irritability is the biggest for me.
The big
like one. I had no patience.
I feel like though, looking back, I feel like, again, Sansi here, I've always been a little irritable, but I can tell the difference for sure. And I think I just have to commend you too, Katrina, for taking that step and really looking, because I feel like you're ahead of me in this. I think I'm just starting to realize like, oh, maybe I'm losing here. It's more than postpartum, right? Because my kid's going to be 2. And I don't want this anymore, right? And it's not just about the hair falling out. It's how you feel about yourself. And I think Katrina and I are in the same mindset a lot. I think that's why we work so well as friends together, that we want to empower people, and people should be empowered to be happy, and whatever works for you, do it. And like, so if you're not happy or something's wrong, like whatever, but I love that you really have been your own advocate, your own health advocate. And I think that is something everyone needs to do. Answers are hard to find.
They are hard to find, and it's hard to find the people that will get you the answers. And I think that's where my empath self really appreciates that this isn't easy. So I'm going to tell you, it's not easy. Not everyone is as fortunate as I that has a mother-in-law who's a doctor of nurse practitioning, who had this women health expert that she met and referred me to. Not everyone has good insurance that will help pay for these things. Not everyone has a vehicle to access this. So this is a privileged opportunity that I took advantage of. I want to just make sure to emphasize that. But also, I want to share with the listeners what it's done for me. Because I think if we all know, number one, checking in. How are we feeling? Are you experiencing the symptoms that Ashley just outlined? And then if you are, how bad are they? So like, give yourself a rating. Like, am I being dramatic, or am I being honest? And give yourself an honest rating of where you are with that kind of stuff. Because, by the way, my hair was falling out at a high degree of magnitude. And I was like, am I going to have any hair left? And it went on and on and on. It never stopped. So point being, be honest with your symptoms, paint a realistic picture, and then believe yourself. And then if you say, yeah, I think I deserve better, because that's the tipping point in my belief of what self-advocacy is about. You have to believe that you deserve better, and then you have to go find out how to do that.
Absolutely. And I think, too, this reminds me so much of, I'm sure everyone's heard this who's had kids till you're blue in the face. If you're on an airplane and it's going down, you need to put your oxygen mask on first before your child's. And I think we have all been running at such a high speed of, I need everyone else to breathe. But we are not enabling the same thing for ourselves. And now's that era. This second act is really our time to step up and say, what do I need to feel fulfilled? Because when we do, we will give the better of us to our families, our friends, our jobs, you know, and it's so empowering to know that.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
No.
And my cup was so empty. And so, you know, how did I fill it up? Okay, so I went and I had this analysis and I changed some things. I also have, I feel of a certain age to say this, I have house shoes. I don't.
I'm recent owners of house shoes as well.
You have to have them when you have a joint pain like plantar fasciitis. Like, I wear house shoes, okay? I exercise every single day. I eat healthy, balanced meals. I count my calories right now because I'm in a weight loss mode, as I shared on the previous episode. But also, what this has meant is that when I put that estrogen patch on, I believe fully that is what has helped me to wake out without pain and inflammation. I'm not kidding. The amount of inflammation I was feeling in the morning, I could barely move my ankle. It was so sore from just sleeping. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And just my overall energy has been elevated. And so that's allowed me to even, you know, this morning, let the kids ride the bikes to school and run with them while Matt goes and drops the car. And doing it easily without even breaking a sweat, you know? It has allowed me so many things to be able to look myself in the mirror and say, you need a little help, okay? Not everybody believes in hormone replacement, I'm sure, and there's going to be people who don't want to do it. That's fine. Choose your path. This was my path, and I don't regret it for one single second because my plantar fasciitis has almost fully resolved. I can run as many miles as I can handle right now, up, 3 to 4 if I want. And it's just overall making me feel happier.
That's
so
amazing.
I would just encourage you, if you are waking up feeling some of those ways, if you're experiencing things that are really draining to you, taking the joy out of your life, hurting your relationships. My poor husband.
They've all been through the ringer.
And they're going to still go through it because they love us.
I mean, yes.
But at the end of the day, I am not proud at the level of patience that I was unable to access during that time. And still have my days. You know, it's not like this has changed everything. I don't want to paint that beautiful picture because I'm a human being. But yeah, I hope that motivates people to like, there is another side of it. And then there'll be another side to that too.
Totally. And even if it's not perimenopause, if you're experiencing something else, I think the biggest takeaway, and I've seen also my friends do this for their kids who have been diagnosed with, you know, things, is like, you have to be someone's advocate because no one's going to fight for you except for yourself. So if you're not okay too with a diagnosis, like you said, you don't want to take that, there could be another alternative that's, you know, like, but just keep yourself in mind, your family in mind, and we're too old to not feel good.
I love what you said about no one's coming to help you. And I say this quote to myself all the time, which is, no one's coming to save you. You have to save yourself.
You have to.
And I think about, no one was going to lead me here. Luckily, my mother-in-law, but my mom didn't do anything to my knowledge to support herself as she was going through the transition. You know, how was it for her? I don't know. I didn't live in her body.
And I don't think it was really talked about, right?
No.
And I think
hush, hush.
This age, again, in social media, I found out about perimenopause from social media. I think it's a way to, I mean, social media, so many bad things, but there's some good too, right? Like some education, some things, gotta fact check to make sure they're true. But I think having this open dialogue to be like, hey, we're all kind of losing a little hair or whatever, and advocating for yourself has propelled it to be an open topic that we can talk about, and we can help search or weed things out together.
I love that.
So I love where this has taken us, but maybe we'll just kind of shift a little bit and talk about how do we start managing this now, right? So we're talking about, there's been a difference. We've both seen it of what we've done in our 30s versus our 40s, like health-wise, exercise-wise, food-wise, and mental health. So how do we manage this now, right? Like, what are some things you're doing? I'd love to hear, like, you kind of mentioned the working out, and we talked about on the weight episode, like eating less processed foods, but what else can we do to make sure, like, we've got a diagnosis, right? Or we're doing things that serve us. How do we keep up with it?
So I'll tell you just some things that have helped me. Obviously, I told the supplements, the estrogen patch has been really important because I was vitamin D deficient and estrogen, very low estrogen. But outside of that, I would say you better be taking a good quality multivitamin. Like every single person should be doing that. Also, additionally, I take magnesium glycinate and magnesium citrate. Magnesium glycinate, particular for sleep and muscle rejuvenation, and then magnesium citrate for my digestion. And it has been life-changing. For anyone who's a regular out there, TMI, like it really, really does help. And then I do take fish oil, which is a good lubricant for a lot of parts of our body.
So I'm taking, you have a vitamin box.
I have a very colorful, beautiful. I can link that as well.
Yes.
It's very pretty. It has an AM and PM for Monday. I know. And like all these super sexy post 40 items, like you guys are getting the veggie chopper. You're getting, this new fancy vitamin box.
Maybe we should do like a drawing on our Instagram. Follow us and we will send you a 40 plus kit.
You know what? I love this. We're going to make it a thing.
Love it.
Maybe we'll put it together for the next episode.
Love it.
So listeners, if you've made it this far into this episode, keep your eyes out for the 40 plus box.
Yeah.
So other things, I mean, like this is so basic, but things that, by the way, are basic are proven. They're proven.
Essential.
This is not lip service, right? So we're talking about regular exercise. That includes cardiovascular and resistance training. This helps with weight loss, by the way. At this age, our muscle starts to waste away naturally. So we have to be helping it to keep it alive. So doing weightlifting or doing exercise using our body weight, plank challenges, like, all that kind of stuff. Even if you're just standing at the bus stop with your kid, hop in there and do 20 squats. Like, that counts. Make it count. Obviously, it goes without saying, eating a healthy, balanced diet and avoiding processed foods and excess sugar. Sugar really does not help with our inflammation, especially if your estrogen is starting to tick down. You're going to experience a lot of inflammation pressure in your body. So staying away from sugar and alcohol in particular can really help, or limiting them. I mean, right now I've got a shaken espresso over here. It's got 1 pump of stuff in it. I cut down. I don't cut out. So I'm not a cut out type of person. It constricts me too much. So find your balance and what's worked for you. Maintaining a healthy weight. Guess what? Our fat stores hormones. So the more fat you have on your body, the more cortisol, the more hormones that could be contributing to inflammation, contributing to you not feeling well. If you are a smoker, guys, stop. Like, newsflash, not good for you. That includes vapes, like all of that. It's not good for us. But then thinking about what are some other things with mental health, engaging with people, having fun with friends, try to reduce your stress. Quit adding things to your to-do list.
But also, it's okay to say no. I
And
feel like
say
sometimes
no.
I'm in that place of just, I can't. Like, I'd rather do laundry tonight. Or, like I've said before, right? My self-care is Trader Joe's solo. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and it made you feel better.
yes. But again, you got to listen to yourself. No one knows yourself better than you and is going to advocate for yourself better than you. So if things aren't working, we're sharing things that work for us, right? I have gotten into, I always used to be, I mentioned this before, an extremist. So I'm going to go run 10 miles when I haven't ran in months and hurt my leg, but then I'm going to do it again the next day. And now I'm just like, you know what? I love walking.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
you know,
of
what
course.
are they hot girl walks or whatever? That's like the thing this summer, and it's just like, listen to yourself, give yourself grace. I think we're a big, like, give yourself grace person, because every chapter of life is going to have challenges, and it's going to have the joys. It's going to have the bubbles at the end, right? But like,
Yes.
listen to yourself, but also challenge yourself.
100%. And I think at the end of the day, these are just reminders. But the biggest thing, if I want anyone to walk away here with, Ashley, is that the way you feel is real. Especially if you're at this age, there are some real things that are going on with you hormonally that you may want to get looked at. I'm here cheering for you. And I also want to just encourage people that there is a path through it. There's still a way to become our best selves, that you can kind of overcome whatever is ahead of you, as long as you get to the right places and ask for the support that you need.
Absolutely. Be your own advocate. You are the one that knows yourself the best, and we all want to be our best. So it starts there.
I love it. And let's remember, Ashley, that after every breakdown,
don't forget the bubbles. If you're enjoying this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.